Real world percent problems. This is chapter 6, lesson 4. You're going to notice that I'm skipping ahead to the example right before question 4. The first 3 examples are math problems like we've been doing in class. So I want you to try those on your own and just use the multiply and divide methods to figure out what the percent of the quantity is. You should be able to do that just fine with everything we've been practicing. So we're going to jump ahead to the real world examples like sales tax. So in this case, again, it's real world. You're going to want to know how much an item costs with sales tax. So you're going to want to be able to do the math to figure that out before you get to the register, before you have enough money. So in this case, Mason buys a suitcase. The cost of the suitcase is $390 plus an 8% sales tax. So they want to know the total cost. So the cost of the item plus the price. So we have an 8% sales tax of $390. So to find 8% of $390, you can use method 1, like we've been practicing, 8 over 100 times $390. And you would multiply 3 times 8 to get your numerator, or 390 times 8. And you would, of course, get here 3,120, and that would be 3,120 over 100. So remember, anytime you divide by 100, you can put your decimal at the back and move it to the left 2 spaces. So the sales tax is $31.20. And don't forget, they want you to calculate the total cost. So you're adding the original price, $390, plus $31.20, and that's how you get $421.20. Just remember, with the $390, because it's money we're talking about, we can add our decimal and 2 zeros at the end because you want to line up your decimals when adding so that you're getting your digits in the right place. So you'll see here how that's $421.20. Or you can use method 2. Method 2 is where you first find what 1% is. So you do that by doing division of the cost, 390 divided by 100. Again, I would just write 390, take my decimal and move it over 2 places because I'm dividing by 100, and I get $3.90. So now, to find how much 8% is, I'm going to multiply 8 times the $3.90, or you can do it in the fraction form. And as you saw earlier, $31.20 is your answer. And again, don't forget they want total cost. So you add the original price plus the sales tax to wind up with total cost. Okay, so let's do number 4 together. Janice paid $820 plus 7% sales tax for her airfare. So they want to know how much she paid total. So in method 1, I'm seeing what 7% of $820 is. So I'm going to multiply 7% in fraction form as 7 over 100 times $820. And I'll show you the multiplication I'm doing. So 820 times 7 is going to be 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 8 is 56 plus 1 is 57. So that would be $5,740 divided by 100. Again, because I'm dividing by 100, I'm taking my decimal and moving it 2 places to the left. So the sales tax is $57.40. And again, I want to make sure I'm answering the whole question. So to figure out the total cost, I'm adding my original price of $820 plus $57.40. And I want to add my decimal and 2 zeros to $820 so I can line my decimals up when I add. And I would get $877.40. Okay, so that's the total cost of the airfare. Or I could do method 2. Again, I want to find out what 7% of $820 is. So in method 2, first I'm finding out what 1% is. So I'm doing that division. $820 divided by 100. As you remember, when dividing by 100, I'm just moving my decimal from the end to the left 2 spaces. So 1% is $8, or I'll put it here, $8.20. And to find out what 8% is, I'm going to multiply that times 8. So 820 times 8, and leaving my decimal out until the end, that would be 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 2 is 6. 8 times 8 is, 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 8 is 64 plus 65. I'm really sorry. We're trying to find 7%. I'm thinking of the last problem. So let's redo that. 820 times 7. My apologies. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 8 is 56. Plus 1 is 57. And again, I need to notice that in my original problem, there's 2 digits after the decimal. So I have to move my decimal 2 digits. So again, I get 5740. My apologies for that error. So I added 820 plus 5740 again. We already did that. We know it's $877.40. So please give number 5 and 6 a shot on your own. Maybe try method 1 for 5 and method 2 for 6 to see which one you prefer. Come back when you've finished and check both of your answers. So after your calculation, you should have seen that the sales tax for number 5 would have been $12. So the total cost is $162. And for number 7, you should have gotten the sales tax was $262.50, which gives you a final answer of $4,012.50. All right, for the next set of sales tax examples, we're given the cost of the item, and then they tell us what the sales tax is, and we are supposed to find what percent sales tax is being charged. So we're essentially working backwards. So we know that the cost of the MP3 player is 100%. So $40 equals 100% in this case. All right, so we're going to see what percent $1 would be. So in order to do that, we're going to do 100 divided by 40. So 100% divided by the total cost. And I'm going to cancel out a 0 to do the math. So now I got 10 divided by 4, which is 2. I add a decimal and a 0. And 4 goes into 25 times. So $1 is 2.5%. So to figure out what $2.40 is, I'm going to take $2.40 and multiply it by 100 divided by 40, or I can do the decimal. So whichever you prefer, and I'll show you both. When I multiply $2.40 over 1 times 100 times 40, I would get 240 over 40. And then I'd have to divide that. So I'd cancel out zeros, and 24 divided by 4 is, of course, 6. Or you could do the decimals. So I would have $2.40 times 2.5. So I would take out the decimals, and I would do 240 times 25. And then you would see 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 2 is 12. I drop my 0 as a placeholder. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 times 2 is 4. If I add them together, I get 6,000. And then in my original question, I had 1, 2, 3 digits after my decimal. So I moved my decimal 1, 2, 3 places, and I get 6. So again, both ways you're getting 6%. I want to do the next one with you. I'm thinking you guys should stick with the fraction version because you've been really good at multiplying fractions. But if you like multiplying decimals better, again, that is your choice. All right, so Emily bought a DVD for $25.50 and the sales tax was $2.04. So we want to find out what percent the sales tax. So the cost of the DVD was 100%. So $25.50 is 100%. So what you want to do is see how much $1 is. So you're going to do 100 divided by 25.5. This one's a little tricky if you want to keep it in fraction form because remember we want to get rid of the decimal. So right here there'd be a decimal. So you're going to move this one to the right one space. So you'd have to add another 0 here. So now we're going to leave it in fraction form as 1,000 divided by 255. So to figure out what $2.04 is, you're going to multiply 204 times 1,000 over 255. Okay, so 204 over 1 times 1,000 over 255. It's a more difficult one, but we're definitely capable of it because there's 1, 2, 3 zeros in 1,000. I'm going to move this over 1, 2, 3 zeros or 3 spaces. So that would actually give me 2,040 over 255. Now I got to do that dreaded long division. So 2,040 divided by 255. This is a little bit of a guessing game. 255 is a big number. So I can tell right now that it can't go into 2, it can't go into 20, it can't go into 204. But 255 is close to being 10 times to get to 2,040. I'm just going to test 9 out here and see what that would be. 5 times 9 is 45. 5 times 9 again is 45 plus 4 would be 9. And 9 times 2 is 18. Plus 4 would be 22. So that's too large. So let's try 8. So 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 5 is again 40 plus 4 is 44. 8 times 2 is 16 plus 4 is 20. And look at that. We get our exact amount. So that tells us that our sales tax rate is 8%. All right, I'd like to do number 8 with you because I know this is a little bit of a difficult concept. So we have a computer monitor that costs $115 and the sales tax is $8.05. So what is the sales tax rate? So again, the cost of the computer monitor is 100%. So what we want to do is find out what $1 is. So $1 is going to equal all right, so sorry, I had a glitch in my editing, but we're going to start this one again. So we have $115 is 100%. So I know that $115 is 100%. So remember, I want to figure out how much $1 is, what percent that is. So I'm going to do 100 divided by 115. Because this doesn't have anything in the cents column, I'm just going to leave it as 115. So I'm going to leave this in fraction form. So now I'm going to multiply my sales tax amount by the fraction 100 over 115. And again, because I'm multiplying by 100, I'm just moving that decimal over 2 spaces. So I get 805 divided by 115. So I'm going to give 7 a shot here. 805 divided by 115. So I want to see what 115 times 7 is to see if that goes in. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10. And 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. So since it's the exact number, I can say accurately that 7% is the sales tax. So again, essentially, you're setting up a fraction, and then you did multiplication, and then you did division. So just like we've been practicing, you're always going to do multiplication and division combined for these types of problems. Okay, now we're going to practice some problems about commission. Commission is something you want to know about if you ever work in sales. If you sell something in certain sales companies, like car sales especially, you receive a percent commission. So however much the item costs, you receive that percent commission for yourself. So in this example, but cars, Scotty gets a 2% commission for all the cars he sells. If Scotty receives $3,750 in commission, what is the dollar amount of his sales? So it's important that you pay attention to what they're saying. They're telling you that 2% is $3,750. So to figure out the total cost, we need to find what 100% is. So what 100% is our actual question here. So to do that, you want to find first what 1% is. So you're going to do the division step first. So you divide the amount he made by the percent. So 3,750, they do the math for you, divided by 2 is 1,875. So that is 1%. So now we're going to use that number to find out what 100% is. This is the multiplication step. Again, it's always division and multiplication and some combination. So we multiply 100 by 1,875. Again, remember when multiplying by 100, that's 2 zeros. So I'm taking my decimal, which was here, and moving it over 2 spaces. So the total amount that he sold in cars was $187,000 or $187,500. All right, so here, Catherine donates 5% of her salary to charity, kind of like commission, but a donation. If she donates $285, how much is her salary? So they tell us 5% equals $285. So we want to find out, first we're going to do division to find out what 1% is. So we're just dividing that amount that she donated by that percent. So to figure that out, I'm going to do my long division. So 5 goes into 28 5 times. Bring that down. 5 goes into 35 7 times. And because I'm left at 0, I'm done. So 1% is $57. So to find out what 100% is, I'm going to take 100 times $57. So I'm going to write 57, take my imaginary decimal, move it over 2 spaces, and fill in my empty spots with zeros. So Catherine's salary is $5,700. Please give number 10 a try on your own. Again, first find out what 1% is, sorry for that, and then come back and find out what 100% is. So they want you to find 8% equals $11,000 in this case for this author. That's nice. So to find what 1% is, you're doing that division problem, $11,000 divided by 8. And you should have gotten $1,375. So now to find 100%, we're multiplying. You're going to multiply 100 times 1,375, which I'm just adding 2 zeros on here. And you would get $137,500. Okay, so next we're talking about interest. Interest is money earned in things like savings accounts or investments. So again, something that is very relative to real life. It is always dealt with in percentages. There's one little part added in interest. It's time. So we need to take into consideration how much time they're talking about in each of these problems. So Belle deposits $12,000 into her savings account at the beginning of the year. She receives 3% interest at the end of the year. So that means 1 year. That's the time that we need to be aware of. So how much interest will Belle receive? So we are calculating 3% of $12,000 for 1 year. So we're going to put 3% as a fraction, multiply times 12,000, and because it's 1 year, we're multiplying by 1. So if we went straight across here, we would get 36,000 over 100. And then this is where the division comes in. This is a nice easy one where we can cancel out some zeros. And you see the final answer is $360. So she would earn $360 in 1 year. Okay, so let's talk about Quincy here. Quincy has $490 in his savings account at the beginning of the year. He will receive 2% interest at the end of the year. How much interest will Quincy receive? So the interest is calculated by 2% of $490. And again, we need to take into account the time period of 1 year. So 2% as a fraction is 2 over 100 times $490 times 1. So 2 times 490 would give us $980 over 100. I can cancel out 1 0. And 98 divided by 10 is going to give us $9.80. So Quincy will receive $9.80 interest for the year. So try number 12. Calculate the percent of interest here that Sarah earned with 4% per year. Come back and check your answer in a moment. Okay, so we're doing 4% of $2,600 in 1 year. They're going to do, hopefully you did 4 over 100 times 2,600 times 1. And you should have gotten $10,400 over 100. Then you can cancel out those zeros, and your answer should have been $104. Here in this example, we're going to calculate interest of an investment over a different amount of time. So I wanted you to see an example problem of that. So the company invested $30,500 with a bank for half of a year. So the time is different. And the interest rate is 4%. So first we're going to turn our interest rate into a fraction. You multiply it by 30,500, but this time we're multiplying it by half because it was half of a year. So when doing the multiplication, 30,500 times 4 is 1,000 or 130,000, and then this time it's over 200. So you can cancel out zeros, but now you would have had to do 1,300 divided by 2. And you would see here, 6, that is 600. And we found another example where they made a mistake here. So the answer actually is $650 because 2 goes into this 10 5 times. And then we can't forget that last 0. So 650 would have been the answer here. All right, so Lionel has $6,400 in his bank account at the beginning of the year. The interest rate is 3% per year. And again, this one is for half of the year. So we turn 3% into a fraction times $6,400 times 1/2. So 6,400 times 3 would leave us with 1,000 or 19,200, and then we would have this over 200 this time because we have a 100 at the bottom and a 2. So now I need to do 190 divided by 2, and we would get $96. So Lionel will receive $96 in interest at the end of half of a year. So finally, we've reached the end. Please try and calculate the interest that this company earns with $180,000 at 5% for half of a year. Come back and check your work and your answer in just a moment. So hopefully for this problem, you set it up as 5 over 100 because it's 5% times $180,000. Again, you can put that over 1 times 1/2. And if you did your multiplication correctly, you would have gotten $900,000 over 200. And you want to cancel out some zeros so that you have 9,000 over 2. And then you're going to do that final division to figure out the answer here. And 9,000 divided by 2, you should have gotten $4,500. So that should have been your final answer. I know it's a long lesson, but you will be seeing problems like this in the real world. So again, this is something you really want to become familiar with. Take your time, write down questions. Remember, most of these problems, you're just multiplying and dividing.